For Troy Aikman, last week's setback proved to be very costly. But that setback was only temporary as he returns to the starting lineup. Quarterback Brett Favre has brought smiles to Green Bay, still looking to become among the elite. The Packers have taken a major step forward with the league's #1 defense. A defense which will be severely tested today in Texas. A brilliant day in Texas as you look at legendary Texas Stadium. Inside, the Packers come to town to face the Cowboys. A battle of first-place teams, and somehow that has a strange sound to it. John, first-place teams battling each other. As I said, that has a sort of a strange ring to it. What do you think is going to take really to settle this contest?
I think it's going to be in line play. I mean, I love these kind of games where, you know, we can talk about the quarterbacks and the running backs and the great wide receivers, but it's all going to boil down to how the lines do. You know, we heard Troy Aikman say in the pregame show that he can't run. And if he gets any pressure on him, he's not going to be in the game. So that offensive line of the Cowboys has to block today like they've never blocked before.
And in talking with the Packers and Mike Holmgren yesterday, I got the feeling, and I'm sure you did too, that they feel better about themselves, perhaps more confident than they have in a long time.
Well, they do feel very confident. Of course, part of it is they remember that they were beaten by this team on Thanksgiving Day, but the thing that they feel confident about is that they scored 4 touchdowns against them. But again, their offensive line has to be able to handle that defensive line. Now, Charles Haley may not play for the Cowboys. If he doesn't play today, then that's going to be a lot easier game for the Green Bay Packers. They have to be able to run a little, but they have to be able to protect Brett Favre on offense. Then on defense, they have to do something to control Emmitt Smith.
So coming up, it's the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys from Texas Stadium. And John and I will be back for the opening kickoff when Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages from your local station.
This is Fox.
And kickoff, Craig Henfrick will kick off, although Chris Jackie is available for the Packers. Back deep, Kevin Williams and Brock Marion for the Cowboys. Henfrick, line drive kick. Bounces past Kevin Williams out of the end zone. The Cowboys will take over at their own 20, and Troy Aikman will open at quarterback. Somewhat of a miracle after the injury last week in Washington. In front of him, the biggest, perhaps the best offensive line in the NFL. 2-A Newton Donaldson, Larry Allen, and Eric Williams. In the backfield with Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Darrell Johnson, Kevin Williams, and Michael Irvin wide, and Jay Novacek, the tight end. Irvin comes wide right from the 20 with Aikman at quarterback. The Cowboys will go to work. Emmitt Smith. Packer pursuit is excellent. Fred Strickland out to make the hit. Let's look at the Packer defense. #1 in the NFL. Sean Jones, Yurkovich, Gabe Wilkins, and Reggie White, the front 4. The 3 linebackers, Kuntz, Strickland in the middle, and Wayne Simmons. Secondary, bigger, stronger this year. Evans, Teague, Butler, and Newsom. 2nd and 11. Emmitt Smith lost a yard. Aikman to Emmitt Smith. A gain of about 8. Strickland with a stop.
That's the thing about Emmitt Smith. He can do it running or he can do it catching. Here's going to be one of the biggest matchups of the day, Pat. You got Reggie White going against Eric Williams, one of the best defensive linemen in the game and one of the best offensive linemen in the game. You see that? He tried to use his club on Eric Williams, and he didn't budge Big Eric.
3 wide receivers. That's Novacek, the move man. Aikman gives to Smith. Not enough for the first down as Reggie White saw it coming.
And that's the guy that you got to get blocked wherever you're going to run the ball. Again, as you say, here's Reggie. He's going to see that thing. It's an inside run. He starts to the outside, and then instead of going up the field, he comes right down the line of scrimmage. And when Reggie gets his hands on you, you are down, and the next thing you need your punt team.
John Jets, the punter, hasn't had a lot of activity this year. Charles Jordan back deep for the Packers. Jet, good kick. Jordan at the 22. Jet's one man. The Cowboys covered quickly. Dale Hellestray down under the kick. He was also the snapper. Jordan, it appears, will stay in the game. A 50-yard punt, an 8-yard return. Brett Favre's the Packer quarterback. 5th year from Southern Mississippi. In front of him, Rutgers, Taylor, Winters, Galbraith, and Earl Dotson. Edgar Bennett's the runner. William Henderson, Morgan, Brooks, Shimura. They open with 4 wide receivers. No tight end.
I wouldn't be surprised if they would run from this formation.
Bennett, nothing.
The Cowboys weren't surprised either that they ran from that formation.
Charles Haley is not starting. That was Russell Maryland who made the tackle. Haley has been replaced by Shante Carver. Lett, Maryland, and Tolbert, the rest of the defensive line. The linebackers, Miles, Jones, and Dixon Edwards. And the secondary, Brown, Brock Marion, Darren Woodson, Clayton Holmes. 2nd and 10. Favre to throw it. To Anthony Morgan, about 8.
I tell you, that's going to be a big thing if Charles Haley doesn't play. You know, for a couple reasons. One, he's probably the best pass rusher in football. But 2, the Packers, if Charles Haley is in there, they're going to double him every time, either with a tight end or a running back. Now, if Haley's not in there, that means they can get another guy out in the pass pattern, either that running back or tight end that was going to help block Charles Haley.
4 wide receivers again. 3rd and 2. Bennett close to a first down. He might have it, and maybe not.
And that's the thing that Barry Switzer has to think about. I mean, you know, Charles Haley didn't practice during the week. He said last week, if you don't practice, you're not going to play. He felt that his defensive line didn't play well last week, but I still think you don't put Charles Haley in that group. To me, he's the best, and he has to be out there in the field because he raises havoc like no one raises havoc.
He doesn't look as if he's going to participate.
Well, I saw him before. He came by the bus before the game, and he said, I may not play at all today.
Well, anytime you see a guy with his thumbs hooked in his belt, you figure he's not going to play.
And he doesn't have either his hat on his head or in his hand. That's another indicator.
1st and 10, Green Bay.
1st and 10, Packers. Just shy of the Dallas of the Packer 40.
Mike Holmgren, of course, has a script. We talked to him last night just before he scripted his first 15 plays of this game.
1 setback, 3 wide receivers. Favre gives to Bennett. Edgar Bennett gets about 3 yards.
See, what the Packers are trying to do is get in passing formations, like that formation, 3 wide receivers, earlier 4 wide receivers, and run from passing formation. And then go to 2 tight ends or tighter formations that are usually running formations and pass from those formations.
Now they go with 2 tight ends, and they figure, at least they all told us yesterday, one thing we've got to be able to do is run the ball. Because everybody says that.
But I would think they'll pass from this formation.
Favre back to throw it. Pass is caught by Anthony Morgan. And that'll be enough for a first down for Green Bay.
And that's where they want to work. They want to work.
Excuse me, John, go ahead.
I was just saying they want to work out here on Clayton Holmes. He's the guy that's been having problems there, and you can see here he gives a pretty big cushion. He's off about 5 or 6 yards. Morgan breaks, and he still has that 5-yard cushion on Clayton Holmes.
Brett Favre's got a great arm. He can really fire it.
and he likes to fire it.
Yep.
You know, I think that he would rather throw a real hard, incomplete pass that goes into the stands than sometimes a real little soft completion.
There's Deion Sanders looking on. Far to Bennett. Stopped finally by Robert Jones, but good yardage.
See, that's the advantage of what Mike Holmgren's doing here, scripting those first 15 plays, is that, one, he can give them a lot of formations early and see the adjustments. Two, he can make all his decisions on the first 15 plays that he's going to call, so that removes all the anxiety. And then, three, all the players know what they're going to do, and they feel pretty confident about this first 15 plays.
And he tries to keep it balanced. He doesn't always get that accomplished, but he tries for balance. William Henderson, the ball carrier. Nothing doing. Shante Carver in place of Haley out to make the stop.
That play didn't have a chance. You see Shante Carver is here. He's going to get some penetration here. And anytime you get in the backfield on defense, anytime you get on their side of the line of scrimmage, right there, then they don't have a chance to run to that side. There's no way that play had a chance.
Brings up third and about 6. 4 wide receivers again for Green Bay. Far back to throw it. Pump behind Brooks, and he was open.
Oh, that would have been a big play. Bill Bates was on him, but Brooks had Bill Bates beaten by a couple of steps, and Favre just didn't get it to him. Here's a guy you wonder, Bill Bates. He's been here, seems like every time we've done a Cowboy game, Bill Bates has been down there, running down on kicks, playing on nickel. Always gets bigger and stronger and faster every year as he gets older.
He says.
The Packers only had 10 guys out there on their punt coverage team. They just sent in the 11th.
Craig Hentrick back to punt. Kevin Williams deep for the Cowboys. Hentrick got the high kick that he wanted. It just depends on the bounce. Green Bay bounce, and they down it inside the 5. Marcus Wilson down it. The Cowboys start deep in their own territory. Nothing score. First quarter.
Brought to you by Chrysler and the all-new Chrysler Town and Country minivan, the ultimate. By the NASDAQ stock market, the stock market for the next 100 years. And by Pizza Hut, home of stuffed crust pizza.
Back in Texas. You get a look at some of the neighboring spreads. Dallas ball at their own 4-yard line, 1st and 10. Emmitt Smith standing about 5 yards deep in the end zone. Troy Aikman, the quarterback. No score yet. Emmitt behind Darrell Johnston gets a little room out to about the 9.
You know, one of the things Reggie White was saying last night that the Green Bay Packers want to do is they want to push the Cowboy offensive line backward. And I thought, I kind of laughed to myself. I didn't laugh to Reggie. I said, well, you're not going to be able to do that. And he just did it. He just took Eric Williams on the run. And this is what they're doing. They're playing like short yardage. Now watch him. He's just going to go in here and just go square. And you see him just get up and just push him right into the backfield. Then Emmitt Smith had to run around Eric Williams.
Which Emmitt can't do. Emmitt again. Not much. Right now for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in the Hollywood studio.
Pat, we talked about the Eagles' ground game being 6th in the NFL. The reason why, Ricky Waters and this Charlie Garner, 55 yards to pay dirt. That on the opening series for the Eagles. They lead the Skins 7-0. Back to Dallas, Pat and John.
No score at Texas Stadium. The Packers and the Cowboys 3rd and 6, 3 wide receivers. Aikman says he can't back out from under center. He can turn sideways, which he does. Not enough for a first down. Kevin Williams made the reception. He caught the pass, but not enough. And Aikman's upset, and so is Kevin Williams.
Well, he's probably upset at Kevin Williams for not running the pass pattern deep enough, or for himself and not finding someone else that was open deep enough. I think the big thing is he got through these first couple series and the calf injury is holding up. But he hasn't been forced out of the pocket yet either.
He says he can't run. John Jett has punted one time already. Another good kick for Jett. Chases Jordan all the way back to the 32-yard line of Green Bay. And he's hustled out of bounds in front of the Packer bench. 0-0. The score at Texas Stadium as the sun starts to take over the field. And we have 6 minutes and 3 seconds left in the first quarter. Cowboys have a following, so do the Packers. And if it gets much warmer, it might be down the side of his head.
Well, you wonder about these guys that wear these cheese heads. That when you're in Green Bay, you expect to see them a lot, but you don't expect them to see them in Dallas. I mean, how do you bring them from Wisconsin here?
Favre gets it outside to Brooks. Hit by Darren Woodson.
Because probably when they're in Wisconsin, they wear those things. And, you just get up in the morning, you say, well, I think I'm going to wear some cheese in my head.
Well, it won't melt.
Yeah, you just kind of go to the game. But when you have to go to the game in Dallas, then someone has to pack the cheese.
And you might turn out to be fondue.
Who packed the cheese?
2nd and 6. Edgar Bennett across midfield into Cowboy territory. A pickup of about 3, hit by Robert Jones. Still no Charles Haley.
And just looking at Charles Haley on the sideline, and just if you can read body language at all, I'm not saying that I can, but that body language says that he's not going to play today, or he's not ready to play now, or he's not going to play in this first half anyway. Maybe there'll be some kind of halftime adjustment.
I get that impression.
But it's a lot easier playing the Cowboy defense when Charles Haley's on the sideline.
Third down. Favre throw. Brooks again. First down, Green Bay.
Yeah, that's the Packers' new go-to guy, Robert Brooks. And I think that Brett Favre right now in football can throw this pattern where he runs, and you see Brooks just runs a short out, and he should be getting a block there, and it could have been a bigger play, but Favre ran a sprint out play. And watch him just take off now. This is going to be a sprint out. He's going to sprint out to the right. See him? He just takes off, and I think that he could throw on the run better than any quarterback in the game today.
4 wide receivers for the Packers again. Bennett gets the carry and gets not very far. Russell Maryland saw that one coming.
That's what we talked about, controlling the line of scrimmage. Control the line of scrimmage means keeping those guys back on their side. You can't allow penetration. Watch the penetration that Russell Maryland gets. Of course, they're going to try and trap it. The center tries to block back on him. There's no way that he is going to get him.
Too quick.
Now, Frank Winters is not going to block back on Russell Maryland when his guard pulls.
Not going to cut him off. You can stay out there a long time trying to do that.
I think that's one of those plays. Are they still in the script? If they're still in the script, I'd cross that one out.
Favre. Pass is picked off by Godfrey Miles. Miles gets it to midfield. He saw that one coming, too.
And Favre had to make that tackle, or Godfrey Miles would still be running. This woke up this crowd. This crowd was quiet until this play.
3:36 left in the first. The Cowboys ball at midfield.
Well, here's Godfrey Miles right here. You see, he's just playing zone defense. He's starting to the outside. Favre was trying to run a slant. Godfrey Miles started back, and then he went, and he's going to get in that lane. You see, he gets in the lane between Favre and the receiver, and Favre throws it right to him.
Favre makes the tackle, and watch his reaction. Miles' interception gives the Cowboys the ball in good shape, close to midfield. Novacek was the man in motion. Aikman back to throw it. Flag on the play. Irvin made the reception.
Yeah, one thing last night all the Packers were talking about is is you can't have turnovers when you play the Cowboys. Of course, they're the first one to have a turnover. They usually, you know, when momentum starts,
Yep.
or bad things start going against you, you know, they get a turnover, then in the first play, now they get a penalty against them.
Red Cashin.
Face mask, number 36 on the defense, 5 yards, still first down.
Nobody says first down like Red.
And he always says it better for the home team. There's the face mask right there. Leroy Butler grabbing the face mask. And again, it was just one of the 5-yard varieties. The 15-yard variety is when you hold on, twist or turn. The 5-yard variety is where you just kind of incidentally do it. But they got about first and nothing.
First down, it looks like about a yard to go. Aikman back to throw. Gets it to Irvin. Irvin does a little dance. Doug Evans. Right now for a game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio.
Hey, Pat, this is what Dave Wanstead's been looking for. The arm of Eric Kramer and the deep threat Curtis Conway. 41-yard hookup draped by Tyrone Poole, but it's a score. 7-0 Chicago. Back to Pat and John.
0-0 score at Texas Stadium in Irving. 2 tight ends for the Cowboys. Novacek lined up left. Emmitt Smith going in that direction and not finding much room.
Yeah, that was a good play on that first down. They had first and a yard. And you know the way Ernie Zampese, the offensive coordinator of the Cowboys, calls plays. He's not just going to run the ball and get a first down. He goes play pass, gets the linebackers up in there, which I was surprised they'd even go for, and then throws the ball to Michael Irvin. There's Ernie right here he got the old pens going in the right hand to kind of calm himself down. But I'm surprised that he didn't go for the deep one there.
Yep, me too.
Because, you know, first and a yard is a free play.
2nd and 8. Aikman back. Hit just as he let it go. The pass is complete to Novacek. Aikman got up slowly, but he got up.
And that was Sean Jones. He went right by Mark Tuinei. Sean Jones is right up here. So it's going to be pressure from Troy Aikman's backside. You see Mark Tuinei, 71, trying to block him. He just goes right by him. Hits Troy right as he throws the ball. Protection in the middle was pretty good. The protection on the other side was pretty good. But they didn't get Sean Jones. But Sean Jones didn't get Aikman before he got rid of the ball.
1st and 10. Aikman will throw again. Wheels it outside to Novacek. Novacek, a gain of about 8, knocked out of bounds by Evans.
Yeah, you watch Troy Aikman, and you know that he has a good arm, and he's strong, and he's smooth, and he's smart. But I tell you, he's tough too. I mean, you know, to come back and the way he's done this, to know that he's just a target back there. You know, he's just a sitting target.
A sitting target.
A sitting target, yeah. And those defensive ends are just taking a point right at where he's going to be, and he just stands in there and flicks that ball out of there.
He's hit every pass he's thrown. Emmitt Smith. Emmitt to about the 2. That'll be a first down. 1st and goal from that point. Fred Strickland made the stop.
Now the Packers said if you can't stop Emmitt Smith, if you can't stop the run, you can't stop anything. This big Cowboy offensive line is starting to take over now. Larry Allen made a heck of a block, and then Moose Johnston comes in and gets a good lead block.
Larry Allen gets better and better.
He's going to be one of the best guards in this league. Big Eric Williams just left a little early on that one. So he had someplace he had to go.
Before the snap, false start, number 79 on the offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Watch this. You have to wait until the ball snap. Big Eric knows the snap count. He just forgot it. He had someplace to go. I have no idea where he's going unless he's going about 3 guys across to get that middle linebacker.
That had to be what was going.
Now this is pretty good to run behind. Look at this. That's like a 3/4 ton pickup.
Plus
1,500 pounds that offensive line weighs. Then you put Stone in there now. I think they're a ton.
That's the end of the first quarter. No score, but the Cowboys inside the Packer 5.
Sunday is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
Nothing score. First down, Cowboys at about the 7. Aikman gives to Emmitt Smith, and he's hit behind the line of scrimmage. Darius Holland. He almost didn't keep him down long enough.
I know, because only if the whistle blows. I mean, the guy's not down till the whistle blows.
You can celebrate, but you can celebrate a little too soon sometimes.
Holland is number 90. You say again, he gets the penetration right there, and he gets him down there. Now his hand is down. You know, his knees never did touch the ground. So you don't know. It's when the whistle blows. The whistle shouldn't have blown, but of course, if the whistle blows, and that's probably what Holland heard. He probably heard the whistle blow.
Maybe. Aikman. Novacek.
Troy Aikman was perfect on this drive. 5 out of 5. Hey, we talked about the line, though. The line has done its job. Other than Sean Jones hitting Troy Aikman that one time after he completed a pass, they've kept him pretty clean.
Touchdown, Aikman to Novacek. Bonio for the extra point now. Novacek holding. Cowboys lead 7-0. 14-13 left to play in the first half at Texas Stadium.
Play. Here's Jay Novacek. Leroy Butler would normally cover him. He's going to come on a blitz. George Teague has to come over to cover Novacek. He doesn't get proper position, and then he misses a tackle. See, here comes Teague. Novacek makes a move on him. Teague misses the tackle. Novacek scores. But you see Emmitt Smith, he's the guy that picked up Butler on that blitz.
And you can see by the look downs that the Packers guessed wrong. Bonio's kick sails to Charles Jordan. Jordan to about the 26. Don't forget, next week it's exciting NFL doubleheader action when the 49ers take on the Colts. The Cowboys battle the Chargers, plus other exciting regional action. All begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. John and I will be in San Diego.
With the same Dallas Cowboys again next week. You know, it just shows what a turnover does, though. The Packers were playing pretty well. They were moving the ball a little. They were stopping the Cowboys. Brett Favre throws that interception, and then the Cowboys just get the ball and go and score a touchdown with it.
Well, that's another sign of a good team that can take advantage of turnovers. Here's Favre back to throw. Screen pass coming. Leroy. Edgar Bennett. Bennett takes the screen pass. Stopped, tripped up finally by Brock Marriott.
Every coach tries to have some momentum changers, and one of these momentum changers is a screen pass. You see Edgar Bennett comes up, fakes like he's going to block. He gets his lineman out in front of him, his center and his guard out in front of him. They get a couple of blocks, and then they just screen the ball right down the sideline for a first down. But that's a good momentum changer.
Mike Holmgren was saying yesterday he tries to put in his script. He tries to put a screen. He tries to put a reverse. And he tries to keep balance otherwise as Leon Lett jumps.
But that does take, because what happens is defense comes out. They've just scored. They've had a turnover. They're all fired up.
For the snap, encroachment, number 78, 5 yards, still first down.
That's Leon Lett right here, encroached before the snap. Of course, if it's after the snap, it wouldn't be encroachment, would it?
No, it'd be fine.
Yeah, it'd be fine. That's kind of a...
If it's too much after the snap, he won't be playing.
It's kind of saying something twice that could be said once.
1st and 5. Packers at their own 47. First down, it appeared. Darren Woodson.
Yeah, one of the things that Mike Holmgren talked about was having a balanced script. And we see here the first 15 plays, he ran 8 and he passed 7. And he said that's what he would like to get. And then you kind of see how they're going to play the pass, what their coverages are, what their fronts are going to be with the run. You use different formations. And then on your second 15 plays, you try and make adjustments off that.
First and 10, 3 wide receivers and a tight end, 1 back. The 1 back gets the ball. And he's wrapped up by Tony Tolbert. And right now, let's send you back to McDonald for McDonald's game break to Hollywood.
Hey, Pat, a big weakness of Philadelphia's kick coverage. Take a look. Brian Mitchell. Jimmy Johnson said he'd have a big day. I think this qualifies. 59-yard punt return, his 6th punt return for a score. All tied less than 2 in the first. Back to Pat and John.
7-0 at Texas Stadium. 2nd and 7. Green Bay ball at the Dallas 43. Cowboys leading. Favre to throw it. Incomplete. He looked to Brooks. He saw Leon Lett looking at him.
Well, I think you don't have a lot of time with Leon Lett coming up the middle on you. You look to the right, and I think Brooks was his secondary receiver on that. But when you get big Leon Lett, who's one of the best pass rushers in the game, coming up the field on you, you can look once and maybe go to a second receiver, but you can't do much more than that. See, you look to the right now, he had to get rid of the ball or he was going to get decked.
Right. 3rd down. They need 7 for a first, and Favre will try to get it thrown. Does to Brooks. Scott Case made the stop on Brooks.
And with Leon Lett coming up the middle, in fact, Leon Lett's going out of the game right now. One thing the Cowboys do is they rotate their defensive linemen. Without Leon Lett in there and without Charles Haley in there, those are their 2 best pass rushers. And if I were the Packers and I was going to pass, I'd be doing it right now.
They have Chad Hennings. The Cowboys do have Chad Hennings and Russell Maryland inside at the tackles now.
And Scott Case is in at safety.
Brooks incomplete, flag down. Clayton Holmes chasing Robert Brooks.
Yeah, Clayton Holmes was in his zone, and again, he was bumping Robert Brooks, and you can bump him for 5 yards, but not after
Illegal
5.
contact. Number 47 by the defense. 5 yards. First down.
See, they're the only 2 guys in the sunlight right here, so you can see him coming down, and you see him, he does a stop and then a go, and then Clayton Holmes hit him right there.
Yep.
And that was after 5 yards, but Clayton Holmes, I'll say this thing for him, he didn't bite on the stop, did he? He started to come up a little, and then he took a bump where you can't have a bump.
First down, Packers. The Dallas 29. Favre changing the play. Outside Brooks. Cut quickly by Holmes.
I'm surprised that was what he changed it to, because what he saw out here was he saw Clayton Holmes out here. Right here, you see him. He's kind of uptight here on Brooks, so that's what he sees. But I'm surprised he audibleized to just a short pattern. You know, I'm surprised that if you're going to take advantage of him being out there or run something, that you're going to get something. I tell you, Robert Brooks did take a shot right here. Watch how he has that right leg planted, and that knee joint almost went where it's not supposed to go.
Could be setting up something. Incomplete again, intended for Brooks. Scott Case and Brock Marion.
Yeah, Scott Case is in there for Darren Woodson. I wonder if Woodson is injured. Woodson's coming back now, I guess, but you see the coverage here. Brock Marion is now playing the strong safety. You see Clayton Holmes going back here. They're just zoning this 4 straight across, and he just throws the ball in there pretty good.
Woodson's playing like a linebacker. 4 wide receivers. Brooks in motion. Favre back to throw again. Chased by left. Screen pass was set up pretty well. Intended for Bennett, who dropped it.
Maybe it's good to give Leon Lett a rest now, and then they let him go in and rest. The Packers had time on the third down play. On the second down play, they bring Leon Lett back in for the third down play, and Brett Favre didn't have any time again.
So it's fourth down, and Chris Jackie comes on.
Brett Favre's thinking that Aaron Taylor better start blocking Leon Lett on these passing plays.
Jackie's been hurt. The week off did him a world of good. His first field goal attempt this season. And it is true. The Packers get on the board. 10:06 left in the second quarter. 42-yard field goal by Jackie at 7-3.
Sunday is brought to you by Porsche. There is no substitute. By Dr. Pepper in your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered. And by Aflac, insuring over 38 million people worldwide.
Good-looking livestock in the area. Belongs to a friend of ours. We'll let you know who it belongs to.
And he's probably watching it.
I'm sure he is.
See what a pass rusher does after he pass rushes. He goes and gets some oxygen.
That's Kevin Williams returning the kickoff. With 9:57 left in the first half, it's Dallas 7, Green Bay 3. Back at Texas Stadium, Pat Summerall with John Madden. The Cowboys leading the Green Bay Packers 7-3. Dallas ball at their own 30. Michael Irvin comes wide left. Kevin Williams goes wide right. Aikman goes back to throw it. Irvin into Packer territory. Stopped by Doug Evans.
You know, the amazing thing about Aikman, he's been perfect today, Pat.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the guy that gets hurt, doesn't practice, takes all the snaps on Friday, and then comes in, and he's been perfect. He's 8 for 8. And at all areas, I mean, the short ones, the medium ones, the deep ones, wherever he throws it, it's worked thus far.
2 tight ends this time. Emmett Smith. First down, Cowboys. Newsom made the stop. Boy, does he pop through there in a hurry.
You see big Eric Williams, he's out there in front. He's giving the sign. He's going to make a block right here, and then he's going to run up, and he's going to signal first down himself. He goes out, he gets Reggie, he pushes him to the outside. They get that crease in that right side, and Eric Williams comes running up and goes first down. Watch, block, 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 block. Now you look, then you follow your guy up, and you say, okay, what do we got here? Then you get the first down signal.
Emmett Smith almost broke another one. Gets inside the 35 to about 33 in Green Bay territory.
You know, until this drive, though, Emmett Smith had only had 7 yards. He had 7 carries and 7 yards, and, you know, that doesn't mean anything. I remember Darrell Johnston saying that when you look at Emmett Smith, you never look at his stats until the game's over. You don't start doing projections after the first quarter.
Second down. Aikman still perfect. Irvin stopped by Doug Evans. Move the chains.
This is just an amazing thing, this Troy Aikman. I mean, coming back here and having that injury and just being so smooth and so confident. I mean, it looks like, you know, Irvin knows what he's going to do. Aikman knows what he's going to do. Emmett Smith knows what he's going to do. The offensive line knows what he's going to do. And now it looks like the Green Bay Packers are starting to know what he's going to do, and they don't like it.
But he still does it.
That's when you're on top of your game.
Emmett Smith. That last little spin got him inside the 20.
Yeah, that last little spin was off my man Nate Newton. He was following his left guard, Nate Newton, into the hole.
Good man to follow.
Yeah, big old Nate was pulling around there, and Emmett was saying, I'm going to follow Nate. He got a little too close to him because he ran right into him. Watch Nate here. He's gonna pull right here. Number 61. And watch here. Here comes Emmett. He's gonna follow Nate. Boom! He just runs right into his backside. That'll knock you down.
Packers jumped. Aikman has the pass batted down, looking for Novacek, but Gabe Wilkins might have jumped offside.
Before the ball was snapped.
Yes.
That's what they'll tell you.
That's the key.
Jumped offsides before the ball was snapped.
Offside. Number 98 on the defense. 5 yards, still second down.
Now, Gabe Wilkins was the guy that jumped offsides, but he was also the guy that batted the ball down.
Yep. Well, that gives you an edge.
Yeah, this is what happens when you get an edge. You get that close to the quarterback and you jump that high and you knock the ball down. But it doesn't count.
2nd and 3. Emmett Smith down at about the 14. Wayne Simmons made the tackle.
George Cruz, number 53, Wayne Simmons, number 59, leading the defensive charge for the Packers.
Yeah, this offensive line is starting to do a job. This offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys. Williams is out now. Eric Williams, he's on the sideline. You know, he had that knee reconstructive surgery, and then he tore a calf muscle.
Ron Stone has taken his place. 2 tight ends. Emmett gets the carry. Bounced off one and squirmed down to about the 7.
That's when a runner never stops. You see who he bounced off? He bounced off of Reggie White. Reggie White comes down the line, and you're going to see 92 come in there, and he's going to make the hit. Boom! There's Reggie right there. He lowers a boom, and instead of knocking Emmett Smith down, he knocks him sideways. Emmett keeps his feet going and gets a first down. That's why great running backs always keep their feet moving.
Did you see him cover up the ball when he felt the contact coming?
Well, Reggie White's going to be bringing about a 300-pound load down that line to put on that ball.
Williams is back at right offensive tackle. And Emmett Smith gets another carry to about the 5, where he's pulled backwards by Fred Strickland.
Yeah, that's the thing about this Dallas offense. We talk about, you know, the offensive line had to do their job. They're doing their job. But there's no one thing you can take away. I mean, if you say, well, we got to rush Troy Aikman, and then they're just going to hand it to Emmett, and he's going to get in there behind this offensive line. If you're going to say we got to gang up and take away Emmett Smith, then Troy's going to get back there. Troy Aikman is going to get back there and just throw the ball to Michael Irvin and Jay Novacek all day.
2nd and goal from the 5. Novacek moves to his right. Aikman gives again to Emmett Smith. Emmett taken down by Reggie White. Emmett dipped inside, and Reggie didn't bite.
That is a great tackle for a big man. Yeah, because that was darn near an open field tackle. And you don't see that often. Watch Reggie White here. Mostly those big linemen, they just grab something and try and hold on. But when you get in this position right there that Reggie White was in, that was an open field tackle. And he didn't go for that little move to the inside. He made a great play there.
3rd and goal at the 6. Aikman will throw it in a hurry up high. Intended for Michael Irvin.
That has to be on Michael Irvin.
Yeah, he pushed.
Yeah, he did.
He pushed.
He was on Leroy Butler. And Michael Irvin pushes as well or better than anyone in this league. But they had to see that one.
Against Dallas, against Michael Irvin.
Yeah. He's saying he didn't. He'll argue with it. He's still arguing with Deion Sanders about that one in the championship game with the 49ers a year ago.
And now they're teammates. Looks like Red's going to say something else.
Pass interference, number 88 on the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
So Bonio will come on. Michael Irvin's going to argue a while.
Yeah, here he is right there. Now the ball's in the air, and he pushes him right there. I think what he's saying is he just had his hand on him, and Newsom fell down. But he does have his hand on him.
No question. Novacek holding.
The rookie.
Novacek holding. From 24 yards out, Bonio's field goal was good. 10-3 Dallas with 3:58 left in the first half. Our Aflac trivia question: when was the last time Green Bay beat Dallas in a playoff game? And who were the two quarterbacks? When's the last time Green Bay beat Dallas in the playoffs? Who were the leaders? It's 10, the Packers 3 in the second quarter. 3:58 left before the half. Bonio will kick off, and deep for the Packers, Travis Jervey and Charles Jordan. Short kick this time. Jordan. Good coverage by the Cowboys.
Let's watch this play again, and you can see Michael Irvin has his hand, and right there he pushes Newsome just a little, then he goes up for the ball. Then you go in the sideline, there's Deion Sanders, and Sanders is playing like he's Newsome and showing things. Then you go back to January 15th in the championship. Here's the play that they didn't call pass interference on, and you saw Deion's hand in there.
They're still arguing about it.
And they're still talking about it. This was the two of them at practice this week talking about that play. So Michael Irvin and pushing off or not pushing off or pass interference is a subject discussed every day, every way.
Favre gets it to Brooks. Room. Brooks tripped up by Godfrey Miles. Morgan, I believe, not Brooks.
That's one thing about Brett Favre. You know, he has a lot of confidence. And when something happens, he's just going to keep playing. He's just going to keep coming. And we see here he has pretty good protection. Brooks runs across. He finds Brooks on the cross. And then Brooks is a pretty good runner. I think he probably learned that from Sterling Sharp, too, that you run after you catch the ball. Now, there's Charles Haley.
If Morgan had got the block, Brooks had made the reception. This is Edgar Bennett. Jones on the tackle. Here again, our Aflac trivia question. The last time Green Bay beat Dallas in the playoffs, and who were the quarterbacks? The Ice Bowl, the very famous Ice Bowl. December 31st, 1967. Bart Starr was the Green Bay quarterback. He threw 2 touchdown passes. Don Meredith was the Dallas quarterback. Landry and Lombardi were the coaches. 2nd and 8. Favre bounces off Bennett.
I'll tell you, Darren Woodson was there to do something, too. You know, Ken Rutgers is a pretty good player. He's a left tackle, and he's going to be blocking on Charles Haley. Now, you watch Rutgers here. He starts out and just goes head-to-head. Charles Haley's trying to bull rush him, and Rutgers just pushes him right to the ground.
That's a pretty good job right there.
That is. You just take on that bull rush, and then you direct its power downward.
Favre doesn't like what he sees, calls a timeout. They had 4 wide receivers in the game. Timeout, Green Bay. They have 2 left.
Oh, Sunday is brought to you by Mitsubishi, the new thinking in automobiles.
Back at Texas Stadium. Bright sunny day in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And you can see those shadows starting to creep across the field. 3rd and 8. Favre gets away from Tolbert. Chased by Haley. And he throws it away. Sanders caught it.
Yeah, did you see that? That's not a bad thing. Tolbert starts it. Tolbert starts him on the run. Charles Haley is getting him, and he knows that he better get rid of that ball, so he throws it to Deion Sanders. Sanders caught it. He's going to return it. Should have brought it right up that sideline. Well, he played with Deion Sanders. Brett Favre, remember, he was at Atlanta with the Falcons when Deion Sanders was there. In fact, Sanders gave him the nickname of Country.
Right. Hendrick to punt it. High kick. Kevin Williams signals fair catch and makes it at about the 12. Cowboys will take over. 2:09 left to play in the first half. Dion in practice.
You know, Dion says that he thinks that he can play next week against the San Diego Chargers. And the Cowboys are thinking that they would like to get him back for the Atlanta Falcon game.
You notice he was wearing number 2. That's the number he wore in college. And his number, he was in Tallahassee last night at Doak Campbell Stadium, where his number was retired, the collegiate number 2.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great football player. He's a great baseball player. He's just a heck of an athlete, and he is really going to change this Dallas Cowboy defense when he gets in there.
Aikman to Emmett Smith. Out to about the 15. Darius Holland made the stop. A whoosh. 2-minute warning coming. Emmett slow to get up, but as he usually does, he gets up. 10-3 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Cowboys 10, Packers 3. Dallas ball at their own 15. Aikman back to throw. Darrell Johnston, and the Moose rumbles out to about the 38, and the Dallas first down.
We got a great combination here today, Pat. We got the Cheesehead and the Mooses.
Yeah.
When they throw to the Mooses, it's 2-minute warning. Now they're going without a huddle here. Anytime he gets the ball, all the fans wake up in any stadium.
Aikman. Pass complete to Michael Irvin, and Irvin scrambles down inside the 35 to the 34. George Teague made the stop.
Greg Newsome, the corner out there, missed him twice. He was covering him, the rookie corner. He missed him. He got up, he went, and he missed him again.
29-yard pickup. Aikman to Irvin. Timeout, Dallas.
Watch this. You're going to see out here in the right, Troy Aikman is going to throw to his right out here. Now watch 21. He comes up and he misses him. Then he chases him. Then he misses him again. That's 2 missed tackles on one play. So that's 3 bad things that happened to Craig Newsome. He's only a rookie, #1 draft choice. Gets beaten, misses a tackle, gets up and misses another tackle.
You look at the Big E, Eric Williams, still stretching that calf muscle. Coming up at the Dockers halftime report. J.B. Terry, Howie, and Jimmy with the scores and highlights of all the games around the league. 1:26 left to play in the first half. Dallas on the move, leading 10-3.
I bet they didn't think the Packers would only have 3 points in this first half.
Aikman to Emmett Smith, and Emmett to the 20.
There's one of those plays that shows how good this offensive line is. Emmitt Smith runs 10 yards and doesn't even get touched. Watch it. He's going to come right here on the left side, and you're going to see Nate Newton come out. You're going to see him block down. You're going to see Darrell Johnston make the block here. And Emmitt Smith runs 10 yards before anyone touches him. I mean, that's an amazing statistic that over half his yards are made before he's ever touched.
It's a Green Bay timeout.
In that timeout, they can work on Big Eric's leg, and you can see here, look at this. Before there's any contact, and that's up to date now, he makes 420 yards. Then after the first contact, he makes another 262. So he's made thus far 420 yards on the ground before he was ever touched. Now, some of that's Emmitt Smith, but a lot of that's the offensive line.
But he picks those holes so well, it would be a joy, I think, to play offensive line in front of him.
Yeah, and the other thing, I think, when you talk about the offensive line, you can't leave out the Moose, Darrell Johnston, because the offensive line is a big part of that blocking, but Darrell Johnston's lead blocking is equally as big.
You might as well put him in there with the rest of those guys.
I would, yeah. They ought to call him whatever they call them.
1st and 10, and Aikman back to throw it. Has time, throws the pass behind Michael Irvin. And that really is the first bad pass he's thrown all day.
And you never see Troy Aikman do that. I mean, he's open here, and usually Aikman throws it right where the guy's going, right in front of him. Here, Michael Irvin was open, and he just threw that one behind him. That was just a bad throw.
And that's something you don't say very often in his case.
No, and especially with Michael Irvin.
Right.
If he has any guy that he is really on the same page with, it's Michael Irvin and Jay Novacek.
He's at 11 out of 13, second and 10. Back to throw is Aikman. Outside to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt breaks away from one, gets down to about the 15. Craig Newsom finally made the stop.
One thing, it can be these Cowboy offensive guys, too, because they're making a miss, but the Packers are not tackling well again. They're starting to miss tackles and get sloppy tackling in the second quarter.
Aikman gets the snap. The pass to Michael Irvin. Irvin close to a touchdown. To the 1.
And there were some more missed tackles. You see on that play, again, there was about 3 missed tackles. Again, you have to credit part of it to Michael Irvin, but the Green Bay Packer defense has not tackled well in the second quarter.
30 seconds left. This is a Dallas timeout.
But you see the run there. There's a missed tackle there. There's a missed tackle there, and they finally get him on the third one, but that's when he's at the 1-yard line. If you're going to hit these slants, boom, right there, they have to be hit and tackled right there at the 7-yard line, not at the 1-yard line. I mean, this missed tackle caused 6 more yards. You see right there? That was Butler there. He comes up, he misses, and because of that miss, they get 6 yards.
Here's the flat pass before.
Yeah, that's the thing. And watch Troy Aikman there. He's pulling that leg out of there, and that thing. He's still aware of that calf muscle.
Very
there.
much so.
And he said before the game, he said, I can't run. He said, if they put pressure on me and make me run, he said, I'm going to be out of there. They haven't really put pressure on him that has made him have to run.
Each team has 1 timeout remaining. First and goal from the 1. You'd have to expect Emmitt Smith. 30 seconds left. They still have 1 timeout left.
Yeah, so therefore, having that 1 timeout left, they can run the ball.
2 tight ends. Touchdown, Emmitt Smith. Emmitt, I think, landed on the back of his head.
He did.
And he might be dazed. He is dazed a little bit.
And now he wants to get in the shade there, but he did. He went over the top. And that's one thing about going over the top. You don't know where or how you're going to come down. There's this goal line defense. Everyone getting low, getting low, getting low. You see him jump and dive and turn, get that ball in the end zone, and now he's going to come down and hit right there on the back of his head. Whew.
And again, Darrell Johnston did a heck of a job leading this play.
When people say that these guys are overpaid and they're prima donnas and they make too much money, and tell you, if you're tough and you do the things that this guy does, there's no way you can overpay Emmitt Smith.
You don't hear too many people say that about him.
I don't think so, no. They just gave him the ball, and, he keeps all those footballs that he scores with. But whatever was knocked out of him was back in him now.
Enough to know he wants to keep the football.
And he'll get that, and then they mark it, and they put it in the trunk. And, when he gets through playing this game, he's going to have a heck of a lot of football somewhere. He doesn't even have his hat, though. He has no idea. He knows he got the touchdown. He knows the Cowboys are leading. He knows he has a ball in his hand, but he doesn't know where his hat is.
Bonio for the extra point. Novacek holding. 17-3. Looked like such a harmless drive that began way back deep in Dallas' own territory. They had a 2-minute warning coming up. They took that, and then all of a sudden they struck.
And that's what this offense can do. They get to a point where they're almost surgical. And it's just the combination of, Troy Aikman throwing the ball to Michael Irvin, or throwing it or handing it to Emmitt Smith. That's what the Cowboys are with the big offensive line and the Moose.
And that's what that drive was all about.
They're giving them some smelling salts to See if they'll open that stuff up again. It didn't work yet.
Yeah. I want another one.
I think you know if it doesn't work, then you go to another one, because when it works, that smelling salts, and you take that thing, it makes your head go backwards.
It makes you take a backward step. Here it is again. Look at Darrell Johnson smothered the pile in front of him.
And this is what made Emmett Smith's head go backwards right there. I mean, you come in, that's landing head over heels.
Fonio lines the kickoff to one of the up men in the Packer wedge, who handles it well but doesn't do much with it.
I guess he landed heels over head.
Yeah.
But these guys are amazing. I mean, you just hate to keep saying that they're amazing, but I mean the toughness, the just being methodical, just taking the ball down, controlling it. We talked earlier about how it was going to be about line play. And in this second quarter, the Dallas offensive line and defensive lines have really taken over this game.
They put the heat on Favre, and they've done a good job protecting Aikman. After that touchdown, by the way. Well, now we're underway. We're going to show you what happened after the touchdown. We will. Here's Favre back to throw it. Incomplete, intended for Morgan. This is on Smith's touchdown play.
You see, the play is over here, and everyone's checking in, and then Ron Stone wants a little. He's going to block Sean Jones some more.
Look at
and
the
then
peacemaker.
Yeah, but Nate, you see, Nate is so big that when he puts his arm out, he blocks out 6 guys.
And he pushes them all backwards.
I know it. He forms a circle. He tells them, okay, everyone back here. I got control. I got control of things here. Everyone get behind me. 6 guys get behind Nate.
He is a circle.
You see him on his motorcycle yesterday? That's a sight.
I sure did. Bennett, the ball carrier. Haley tripped him up.
When old Nate gets control of a situation, this is how he comes to practice. This is the sight. This is how he goes home after practice. There's an all-Madden guard.
It's still a sight.
Look at him. He's blowing that Harley out. He said he hopes his mother and grandmother don't see this. Oh, no, that's no.
You want your mother and grandmother to see this?
Well, see, he's laughing at me back here. What the heck's that all about?
Wonder what he's laughing at.
Still laughing.
For the start of the second half after these messages from your local Fox station. Back at Texas Stadium, the Cowboys leading the Packers 17-3. And John, we talked about controlling the offensive line, the defensive line of scrimmage, and so far the Cowboys have done a very effective job of that.
Yeah, and I think if the Packers are going to get back in it, they're just going to have to take over the lines of scrimmage. I mean, they're going to have to put some pressure on Troy Aikman. They're going to have to tackle better. I mean, their tackling in that second quarter was terrible.
Well, as you said during the first half broadcast, your comments, you were saying the tackling's been bad, but some of that's due to the running ability of Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, and there was a period there where the Cowboys were almost perfect. I mean, Troy Aikman, you'd never know that he was injured. Then he throws to Michael Irvin. He catches everything. Then he's making a miss, and Emmitt Smith will make a miss, and so on. But if they're going to do anything, they have to control the line of scrimmage. They have to tackle better, and they have to start getting some first downs, and then just working the ball down the field and getting a touchdown. And then, of course, keeping the Cowboys off the field.
As you said about that last Cowboy drive before Emmitt's touchdown, they were almost surgical.
Yeah, and they'll do that to you. And you have to take that away from them just by controlling the line of scrimmage.
First half statistics look this way. The Packers 24 yards rushing. The Cowboys 49. That may not seem like much, but that might just be enough. 168 yards passing. 217 total for Dallas against 115 for Green Bay.
And then again, if you're playing the Cowboys, here's a big one right here, where the Packers had the turnover, and that directly led to 7 touchdowns. I mean, to a touchdown and 7 points.
That was the interception thrown by Favre that Godfrey Miles came up with. Eric Williams is still trying to loosen up.
He's doing a heck of a job. You know,
yeah,
if you look, he has the right knee is bad, and it's the left calf. And if you watch right here, he's blocking Reggie White, and watch him grabbed the left calf there. So he had that problem. And then he's over there trying to stretch it. They even have a machine down on the field. So he's over there trying to stretch it with a pro stretch thing, trying to stretch that left calf out. And every time he gets in the huddle, he stretches. And he stretches when he comes out here. He's been doing more stretching in this game than any game I've ever seen anyone stretch.
High short kick by Bonio, fielded by Jordan, who gets out to about the 33-yard line where the Pack will go on the attack.
And I think that's what the Pack has to do. I mean, Terry Bradshaw said at halftime that they're going to have to go deep. I agree with that, but I think they have to get control of the line of scrimmage first, you know, and just start working, getting some first downs first, you know, because you don't want to think that you have to go deep, and then you do something, you get one picked off, and then they just surgically take it away from you again.
Sometimes patience is a very difficult thing to achieve. Here's Favre back to throw it. Gets it outside to Brooks. Brooks will get a Packer first down. Out of bounds at the 45.
Brett Favre almost threw that one like he was mad at it. If you look, you can see where they threw in the first half. To the left, he was 0 out of 1, 4 out of 9 in the middle, and 4 out of 6 to the right. And that's where you think they'd work, because their right side, that's where Clayton Holmes is.
And, of course, he's a right-handed quarterback. If it were Steve Young, you'd look at the other direction. Here's Favre to Bennett. Midfield and into Dallas territory. Stopped by Russell, Maryland.
And that's one of the things we're talking about, controlling the line of scrimmage. And offensive linemen will always tell you, if you want us to do that, you have to let us run. You have to give us some running plays. Let the guards pull, let the, double team, let us get bodies on bodies and push them back. We can't pass protect the whole game. We got to run some at them.
Every offensive lineman always says that.
Always wants to run.
Yeah. Well, it gives them a chance to take out some of that venom, some of that frustration on the other guy. Favre, Morgan. Hit by Larry Brown and knocked backwards. And then help arrived on the scene.
Now there is the tackle. I mean, Larry Brown came up there, and that's the way a cornerback should tackle. They're just going to throw a quick out here to Morgan. Now Morgan has great speed. And you see Larry Brown looks, he takes a couple steps back. They just complete that ball at the line of scrimmage, and he comes up, makes the hit, and then holds on until some help gets there.
So it's third down. They need 4. Changing. Watch for the tight end. And here's the flag down. They took too much time.
That's why it's
delay by the offense. 5 yards, still third down.
Yeah, that's where, you talk about home field advantage and home crowd. That's where it is. You very seldom see that happen at home.
And that's what Mike Holmgren was talking about yesterday. How difficult it is to play here.
Yeah, and how difficult, it's tougher to pass protect on the road because your guys don't hear as well. It's tougher to audibilize because your guys don't hear as well.
3rd and 9 now, and Favre back to throw. He had 4 wide receivers. The pass is incomplete. Robert Brooks was in that area, but so were 2 Cowboy defenders.
And he was covered well. He didn't have anything to throw to. He either threw that ball away or he forced it in there because there was nothing open there.
When he throws it away, you better get ready.
It is thrown away.
Craig Hendrick back to punt. Kevin Williams deep for Dallas.
Although Deion Sanders did catch one of his throwaways.
Kevin Williams is about due. Not this time. As the Packers are down in a hurry. They hurried the kick, too, by Hendrick. Keith Crawford down to make the stop, and here's Aikman. And if his second half is like his first was, it's going to be pretty good.
Sunday is brought to you by the all-new Ford Taurus, a look you've never seen from a name you know well. By Dockers Flat Front Khakis, proud makers of nice pants. And by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
Matt, you said that Craig Hendrick was rushed on that kick, and usually when a guy takes a first step like this, he'll usually be rushed. If you look at that punt, when something like this happens and his first step is like this, I would say he is going to be rushed. That looks like something you do in ballet. When you have to do that, that thing is going to come out of there differently than a spiral.
It looks like something I don't want to try to do. Aikman gets it to Emmitt Smith. Out to the 20.
And we talk about the job that the offensive line has done. And here, this is the first half, and just look at this. Troy Aikman has no pressure on him. He hasn't been sacked yet. He's only been hurried one time. He was only knocked down one time. Has no batted passes, no interceptions, and hasn't been forced to scramble, which is a big one because he said before the game, there's no way I can scramble.
He can't run forward and he can't back out, but he still had a pretty good first half. Emmitt Smith is hit behind the line of scrimmage. Wayne Simmons.
You know, one thing Reggie White was going to do is he was going to work on Eric Williams today, because Reggie usually lines up over the tight end and they move him over the guard and the center and the other side. Today he's lined up 34 times, or every snap he's lined up right over Eric Williams. So if the Packers think that there is a weakness in that offensive line, the guy they chose was Eric Williams, and I don't know about that. He may be hurt, but to me he's still one of the best.
Reggie's lined up way outside this time.
Bogo.
Aikman hits Novacek. First down, Cowboy.
And again, you see that time that he had. We're going to watch Eric Williams here. He's going to block Reggie. Reggie's going to try and beat him to the outside, but he can't do it. Eric Williams is watching him all the way. He just gets his hands out there. Boom, right there. Then he gives him one more push right there.
Yep.
And that one pushes him beyond Troy Aikman, so Troy Aikman can step up into the pocket.
Dallas first down at their own 33.
Reggie pretty soon is going to use that club and go inside.
This is Emmitt. And Emmitt gets to the line of scrimmage. No more. The Packers have done, with a couple of exceptions, a good job of stopping Emmitt Smith.
But Gabe Wilkins was in there. You see big number 98. He just kind of played like a short yardage defense where he got down there low and got underneath everything and plugged it up before Emmitt Smith could get to the line or find one of those lanes to run in.
John Yurkovich, number 64, was saying to us yesterday, you stop Emmitt 85% of the time, and all of a sudden he gashes you with one. Here's Aikman. And that's the first time he's been down with the ball today, Reggie White.
And that makes Reggie have his 150th sack.
The all-time leading sacker.
That's the thing. You know, we were talking about at some point he's going to go inside. He'd been lining up wide, and now he started in tight and then just gave that arm under and went around Eric Williams, which is a better way than trying to get out wide and just run around him. See, he got right into him and then just lowered that right arm and went around him.
3rd and 13. Aikman back to throw. Has time. Michael Irvin out of bounds. He came away with the ball, but he was out of bounds.
Greg Newsome was right there with him now. I tell you, you talk to all the Packer defensive players, and they really like this number 21. I think part of it is that the guy is such a competitor. He has so much class, and he has so much confidence. You know, he never did look. I mean, we've seen him in a couple games so far. He never did look like a rookie. And that's a tough job when you're out there. When you're out there one-on-one with Michael Irvin.
John Jett's kick is a good one. Jordan will feel it at the 22. And he is hit immediately. Jim Schwantz down to make the stop.
Reggie White, 150.5 career sacks, the most in the history of the NFL.
Reggie's in the middle of a hurricane on the Packer bench.
Getting cooled off.
Dallas leading Green Bay 17-3 in the third quarter. 9:22 left.
What did you say? Reggie White looked like he was in a hurricane there?
Yeah.
The things they have on a football field now. I mean, they got stuff, and you have to have 150 sacks to get it blown right on you.
Here's Farr going deep, and he's got Morgan. And he was out there. Right now for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio.
At the Eagles offense getting healthy against Washington. Pete, quick one to Fred Barnett. That came in the closing minutes of the first half. Eagles up by 7 in the third. Back to Pat and John.
And the Cowboys are up 17-3 at Texas Stadium. 9:16 left in the third, and it's getting to the situation where the Packers need to make something happen.
Well, they just tried. They tried to go on that deep one, and it looked like they had a step, but they just didn't get it there.
Farr will try it again. Underneath. Close to first down yardage, not quite to William Henderson.
I think that everyone learned from defense that one of the big things in the NFL today on defense is having speed. And when Jimmy Johnson came here to the Dallas Cowboys, that was the idea. That was the defense that he brought. Defense based on speed of defensive linemen, speed of linebackers and defensive backs. And you can see it today. This is a Dallas Cowboys speed defense.
And it's been copied around the league. Edgar Bennett tried to get the first down, and I don't think he got it.
You have to control the line of scrimmage. Whoever controls the line of scrimmage. The Cowboys have been doing it all day, and they did it on this short yardage play. You're going to see right here, that's where they have to take it. They have to get that penetration right there. Russell Maryland gets it. They don't get any movement on Leon Lett, and they're trying to run right at Maryland and Lett, and they plug it up. They don't let any movement happen there.
So the Packers will have to punt. Hendrick to Kevin Williams.
Boy, that upsets a coach. When you have that short yardage like that, you get stuffed, and they were stuffed.
Williams. Fumble. And a scramble. And Reggie Barnes came up with it for the Cowboys. 7:43 left to play after that 40-yard punt. Dallas leading 17-3. Emmett Smith getting a little rest. Sherman Williams has taken his place. Nothing wrong with him, and he should be back. Except he's tired. Aikman. Out to Williams. Out of bounds after a pickup of about 3 or 4. Doug Evans made the stop.
Well, Reggie got that sack now, so, they talked about it on the sideline, I'm sure, and they said, well, let's calm him down. Now what they're going to do is they're going to give him a little help. They have Eric Williams take away the outside, then they bring Larry Allen down to take away the inside. So now Reggie has to get through on that play to pass rush. He'd have to get through about 650-pound a guy.
At least. Flag on the play as Aikman gets it to Darrell Johnston, who moves into Packer territory.
Yeah, that's what they're doing now. They're having Larry Allen block his guy, let him go, have Donaldson come to that side, then Larry Allen's coming out to help Eric Williams. They're kind of bumping and sliding on that side. Watch it here. Here's Larry Allen. Now, what he's going to do, he's going to hit his guy, then he's going to come out and he's going to help. He's going to help on Reggie White. See a bump, 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 and now come out. Let this guy go to the center, and then they end up with their double team on Reggie White.
Reggie might have jumped.
He did. He doesn't like he doesn't like that being double team. He has to get some advantage.
The penalty was declined after the completion. Here's Aikman back to throw it again. Aikman going deep to Irvin. He's there. Touchdown.
Aikman could hardly get down there to congratulate him. Great pass protection again. That time they kept Darrell Johnston in to help block Reggie White. What courage. Right, here's how they're going to block Reggie White. This time you're going to see Daryl Johnson, number 48. You see him come over there. Eric Williams has him. Here comes Johnson. If you're going to throw deep, he knows he needed a little extra time. So again, 3 plays in a row, though, they put 2 guys on Reggie White. That's smart football.
Now Bonio for the extra point. Novacek holding. The extra point good. And the Cowboys lead it 24-3. 6:39 left to play in the third quarter.
There's 3 plays, and you know, and anytime you don't have enough plays to do something, then you're not going to do anything. You know what I mean?
Second and 5.
They didn't do anything. Of course, they never had the ball to do anything.
Yeah, you need to run a few plays, a few more than that. Here's Favre back to throw. Chase just threw it up in the air.
What the heck was that?
Out of the pocket. That's the key. He got out of the pocket and then just threw it upfield backhanded.
Yeah, and once he gets out of the pocket, then there's no grounding, but watch the way he throws it away. I mean, that can be dangerous. There's Charles Haley again. Charles Haley's back there causing the havoc. Russell Maryland is just ready to get him, and he kind of threw it sidearm, backways, end-over-end flop job.
Sort of pushed it.
That's what I always say about Charles Haley. I think Charles Haley is the best pass rusher in football. The Cowboys are going to go to the Super Bowl. They need him in there because he can raise more havoc than any player.
Here's Favre back. Pass complete to Shimura. And that gets him a first down. Outside the 45, stopped by Darren Woodson.
And I think that's what the, you know, even though it's 24-3, you still have to think, start getting some first downs so you have the ball, then you get more plays to work with, then you can do more things. When you don't get first downs, then it's all academic.
Got to keep the ball more than 4 plays, 3 plays, 2 plays, whatever.
And then that's all started. If you don't get them blocked, if you don't handle the line of scrimmage, then all those other things are academic.
First down, Bennett the ball carrier on the old Green Bay sweep. Gets into Dallas territory at about the 49. Tony Tolbert spill things.
This is a thing. This is a play that you don't see as much anymore. You're starting to see now. Again, both guards pull, and then the back gets in behind them and stays in relationship with them, and then cuts up off the guard's block. You see the guards pull out there. The back out there has good relationship. Boom! He gets that block right there and goes to break off it. That block wasn't very good, or that was really played well over there on that side by Larry Brown.
Second and 5. Here's Favre. Brooks at the 20.
You know, the Cowboys have done an interesting thing. They've moved Clayton Holmes over to the right side and moved Larry Brown over to the left side. I think part of that is getting ready for Deion Sanders, because Deion Sanders is going to play the right side, and Larry Brown will probably go over and play the left side, and Clayton Holmes will be the 5th or 6th defensive back.
And part of it, too, was the fact that people had started to work on Clayton Holmes.
Yeah, and passing more to that right side.
3 wide receivers for Green Bay. And Favre back to throw. Man open is Brooks. Out of bounds at the 9. They maybe make it the 8.
You know, when you play a right-handed quarterback, though, there are going to be more good passes or more perfect passes thrown to the right than to the left. And you watch Brett Favre here, it doesn't make any difference who's over there. If it's Larry Brown or Clayton Holmes, if they play that far off and give you the out, he should take that thing all day.
First and goal at the 8. They go with 2 tight ends. Still plenty of time. 3:20 left in the third quarter. Green Bay at the door. Favre, pump fake, batted away by one of the Cowboy defenders. It was intended for Chimura.
What they were trying to do is they started running him on a short out.
Somebody got a hand up in there.
Like he was going to run the short out, and then he ran the short out and up. It looks like it was Darren Woodson who came across and made that play. No, it was Larry Brown. And we were talking about Larry Brown being back there. They were working on the linebacker, trying to get it on Dixon Edwards, and Larry Brown came in behind him.
3 wide receivers. Bennett gets the carry, and he's down inside the 5 at the 4. Dixon Edwards and Robert Jones.
Mike Holmgren, one of the few head coaches that calls the plays himself. And he talks directly into the microphone to call the play, and then, of course, then that goes right into the helmet of Brett Favre.
3rd and goal at the 4. Favre to throw. Maybe. Favre to run. Touchdown, Packers.
That's the thing the Packers needed, is just a drive, and it all starts with getting some first downs. Then you get first downs, then you get more plays.
They had hidden the cheese, and now it comes out.
And now it all comes out, and they start high cheesing each other. But, you know, you wonder, and you look and you say, why haven't you been doing that all day? Why did you do that? You found something you could do. Why did it take so long to find it? But as you said, they still have plenty of time.
One of the reasons they haven't found it is that Dallas has had the ball all the time.
Because they didn't keep it long enough when they had it.
Right.
They had too many of those 3 and outs.
2:27 left in the 3rd quarter. 24-10, Dallas over Green Bay. Well, she's out in public.
Well, the good news is they look like they still like each other.
Yeah. Well, it's only been one day.
Yeah, but I mean, he has to be something. I mean, to get married yesterday and wear a jersey that says number 4 on it, and take his wife the first day that, you know, they're husband and wife, take them to a football game. That's pretty good. Look, they're standing up again.
Taking bows.
Taking bows. Green Bay, she has a Reggie White jersey there.
Yeah.
There's a white wedding dress on, a Reggie White jersey, and a Green Bay cap.
And he's wearing a Brett Favre jersey.
With a sport coat.
Emmitt Smith is back in the game and deep. Aikman gets it outside to Novacek. Out of bounds at the 27 by Wayne Simmons.
Yeah, I think anyone that plays these Cowboys always has to think, you know, what do you do? I mean, do you gang up on the run and take Emmitt Smith away? Then you have Michael Irvin and Jay Novacek. Do you pass rush and try and, you know, cover? And then you have Emmitt Smith running on. And it's a dilemma that you try and mix up, but there's really no answer to it.
2nd and 3. This time it's Emmitt. And he gets it up for the first down.
Yeah, and he's following Daryl Johnston most of the time. Again, you know, we said how Daryl Johnston help. I mean, he'll catch a pass. He'll help on pass protection. He leads, and I think of all the tough things that the Cowboys do on offense, I think number 48, Daryl Johnston, does most of the tough things.
There's somebody hitting him on every play.
Well, he has to lead like that last play. I mean, and he leads with his head. I mean, he just runs in and boom, just sticks his head in. He used to be like 6'6".
It's a break when he gets to go in motion. He was out in front of Emmitt Smith again on that play. He was stopped by George Teague.
But he not only blocks, but he blocks well. I mean, that time, you know, I mean, he leads inside. That time he led to the outside on George Kuntz. And, you know, I mean, it's one thing to block. Now, just watch him here. I mean, that's a blocking position. He's going to go out and get the linebacker out there, number 53. I mean, he not only gets out there, but watch him. Boom. He hits him, and he knocks him down.
Takes him out of the play.
Because some guys can want to do it and get out there and get around it, but not do it like that.
Here's Aikman. Novacek wide open. Novacek into Packer territory, out of bounds at the 43-yard lines of Green Bay.
Well, that's that layered pass pattern they had. Daryl Johnston was short, Jay Novacek was middle, and Kevin Williams was deep.
29-yard pickup.
That's just a layered thing. So he can look to the short guy, the medium guy, or the deep guy. You see Kevin Williams was coming deep. He ran him off deep, and then Jay Novacek was able to come in and get it. What here we're going to have, if we stop it right there, we'll see here's the deep, here's the middle, there's the short. The guy hit was the middle guy.
Here's Aikman. Kevin Williams this time.
One thing he will do is he'll move it around. That's the second pass for Kevin Williams. Mostly Michael Irvin, Emmett Smith, Jay Novacek, but Kevin Williams got his too.
And that's going to be the end of the third quarter. Dallas leading Green Bay 24-10. For a guy with one leg. Fakes to Emmett Smith. Throws the screen pass to Darrell Johnston, and the Moose has some room. Like we said, he gets hit on every play.
The old Moose only knows one way to go to, and that's straight up the middle. When the Moose gets the ball, there's no moves. He's not going to give you any of that hip stuff or any of that huck and buck. He just gets it and goes straight up the field. Look, the old play fake, sneak the old Moose out to the left here, get a screen pass, boom, a good block there, and then he just runs straight up into anything he can find.
Not many dances.
No, or no hip movement at all.
No.
I mean, it was just straight up and blast.
The Moose hurt Fred Strickland.
And when he
with
gets
that blast.
Watch the blast here. I mean, there's no sideways, there's no hips going, there's no head fake, and there's nothing. There's just straight ahead going until someone knocks you sideways.
And he scatters a few bodies along the way, too.
And then you get up and you say, this is fun. That's what I say. He used to be 6'6". And I don't know. I think he's about like 5'10" now.
I think he is.
Because everything he does, he leads with his head. Yeah, you know, this is part of the thing. Green Bay comes in leading the league in defense, and a lot of those statistical things are who you play.
I was
you play
thinking about that.
Jacksonville, you play the Giants. It's a little easier to lead the league in defense, and then you come in and you play a real offensive team, which the Dallas Cowboys are, and that will change your statistics.
It'll move you down in the standings.
That's when you have like Michael Irvin breaking records, 7 catches already. Jay Novacek, 6.
This is Emmett Smith. Emmett Smith, touchdown. And that's pure Emmett Smith.
Yep, and pure poor tackling. Yep, they just wore him down. I mean, this big offensive line, this big Dallas Cowboy offense has just worn down this Packer defense. They're just too good for him.
Emmett's second of the day.
You have to be able to stop the run, and you have to be, I don't care what level, whether you're Pop Warner, you're high school, you're college, you're pro, you have to be able to tackle.
That's sort of the elementary lesson you learn when you first start to play the game.
And that fundamental is going from this game.
And that's too bad. Sponio's extra point is good. 31-10. The Cowboys over the Packers with 14-11 left to play.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers wanted. By Wendy's Spicy Chicken Sandwich. Get it while it's hot. And by DirecTV. It's personalized TV.
Remember all that good-looking livestock we saw earlier? Well, that's the guy who lives in the house that owns the livestock that's in that area.
You know, one of those things I saw walk by one time was a longhorn. Huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that big white one with a big horn, that was a Texas longhorn. When you got longhorns on your spread, you got a spread.
That guy's got a spread, believe me. Jordan.
Yeah, a big part of this is good running. A big part of it is good blocking by the Cowboys. But also a big part of it is just missed tackling. I mean, this is just terrible. I mean, when a guy can run through there and just have guys fall all over on the ground like that, and that causes this.
we play them, they kick our tails. What Reggie says.
And he said it doesn't seem like it's bothering anybody.
Right now, for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio.
Hey, Pat, Gus Ferrara is hoping to own some property like we've been seeing. He's on his way. The counter boot helps the Redskins to tie up the Eagles at 20-for-all in the third. Right now, let's take it back to Irving, Pat, and John.
Here in Irving at Texas Stadium, it's 31-10. Dallas leading Green Bay. 4 wide receivers for the Packers. They're on their own 20. Favre. Pass complete to Jordan.
And now the Cowboys have to remember to tackle.
Almost broke it.
Yeah, Charles Jordan caught that ball on that slant. That's the way Jerry Rice catches all those slants with the 49ers, where you throw that thing and you hit it on the run, and then you just keep running right through the defense.
And almost every time Jerry Rice catches it, he almost breaks it.
Because he's always thinking of that. I think that, when you talk about the 49ers and Jerry Rice and the Cowboys and Michael Irvin, you're talking about two of the best.
Here's Favre to throw it. Steps up into the pocket, slung around. Haley had him. This is out to Bennett. In a foot race with Tolbert. Bennett goes out of bounds. Haley, like he's strained something.
I think he hurt himself on that play, because he did, as you say, he's going to be right here. He makes a good pass rush on Ken Rutgers. You'll see him. He just comes to the outside. He gets that bull rush, you see, and he just ran over Rutgers. And takes Favre, and he got his shoulder in his pants, and Favre went into a spin move. And he came out of the spin move. Look, he went into a spin, and then he turns Charles into a spin. There's 2 guys doing spinners. But that was a heck of a rush by Charles Haley.
Haley's out. Shante Carver's in. Pass intended for Brooks. I beg your pardon. Clayton Holmes knocked down the pass intended for Mark Ingram.
Yeah, and they put Clayton Holmes. He's over here on this side now, and he's back on his side. Here he is right here. They're going to try and run that post on him, where Mark Ingram is going to come up and then go inside, out, then back in, and Clayton Holmes plays it perfectly. He goes with them all the way, and then right at the end, when he's in the end zone, he jumps underneath it.
That's good play.
That's perfect play.
2nd and 10. Favre back to throw it again. Just threw it in the direction of Brooks, under pressure.
Yeah, he also threw it in the direction of 3 Cowboy defenders. Robert Brooks was the only Green Bay Packer there in the end zone, and the Cowboys had 3 guys on him.
At the end of this game, John and I'll select the Miller Lite player of the game. I don't think there's much doubt about who that's going to be.
No, I think if you didn't pick that guy, where you been?
Yeah.
What have you been watching?
3rd and 10. Favre back to throw. Chased again. Has a man open. It's Brooks. Out of bounds, and it's a catch short of a first down by about a half foot, I think.
One of the things that you probably don't want to do on defense is force Brett Favre to throw ugly, because he can throw ugly well.
He throws ugly better than anybody, I think. He's better ugly than he is when he's got a pocket.
And this is the thing that makes him throw ugly. Chad Hennings just breaks free up the middle, and he just had to either get rid of that ball or he was going to take a big sack. He not only got rid of the ball, but he got rid of it for a completion. And they're measuring to see if it's a first down or not. Again, it's where the ball is when the guy goes out of bounds.
First down, Green Bay. (31-10). Dallas leading.
Now, Mike Holmgren goes into that place on the card where it says red zone. He has one area on that card when he has short yardage, goal line, regular plays, first down plays, second down, and one the red zone. And the red zone is in the area that they're in now, inside the 20-yard line.
Just outside the 10, so they can make a first without scoring. Favre. Touchdown. Shimura. Favre back across his body. 11-yard touchdown pass.
We're just saying that Brett Favre can throw ugly better than anyone. I think if you were playing him, you'd probably want to keep him in the pocket and make him throw on rhythm. Watch him here. He's going to get rushed out, and this is where he's dangerous. He pumps. Now he has to start to run. And again, I think he throws better on the run than anyone. That one was kind of like a John Elway, where you run into the right. You have to have a strong arm to do that. Running to the right, throwing across your body to your left.
Jackie for the extra point. Flag on the play. Cowboys, I believe, are offsides, so they'll decline this.
Brett Favre has had success throwing against his Cowboy defense. Remember, Thanksgiving, he threw 4 touchdown passes against them.
Well, he's got a record streak going where he's thrown.
Number 47 on the defense. The extra point is good. Be 5 yards on the kickoff, and that's a timeout.
Well, it's just rolling to the right, throwing across his body, and putting a zip on it.
Shimura with the touchdown pass catch. 12:20 left to play. Dallas 31, Green Bay 17. Packers ready to kick off. Back deep for Dallas, Kevin Williams and Brock Marion. It's going to be Williams at the 1 with some room through about the 23-24 yard line, where the Cowboys will take over. This game presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Dallas Cowboys and the National Football League is prohibited.
Well, we're going to see here if Reggie White's speech did any good. I mean, he was really upset the last time the Cowboys had the ball and went down and scored. He was wondering if anyone cared.
He said, no, every time we come here, they beat us like this. And nobody cares. Here's Aikman. He's hit just as he lets it go. The pass incomplete, intended for Irvin.
And they're keeping Reggie over on that left side defense, but that right side offense of the Cowboys is really good. I mean, Eric Williams, I've always said before he got hurt, is the best offensive lineman in football. And this guy who's lining up right next to him, that's Larry Allen. Here's Eric Williams. But this guy is becoming one of the best guards in football. I mean, and he just gets square on him, too. And when Larry Allen gets square on you, you don't have any more penetration.
You usually go the other direction. Second and 10, that's Emmitt Smith. About a 4 or 5 yard pickup stop by Leroy Butler.
But I would think right now, if I had to take a young guard, you know, that I was going to build a team around, I think I'd take Larry Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, even that last play there, just the way he fires out and run blocks, you know he can pass protect.
Plus, he's got the same thing that Eric Williams has got. He's got a little bit of a mean streak.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough side. I mean, that, you know, Nate Newton was saying over on his side, he and Tuanay try and work everything out and intellectualize it. And he said on the right side, they just aggressive it.
Nate said they intellectualize it?
Intellectualize it, yeah. He says they'll have a meeting, you know, and Hudson Hawk, the offensive line coach, said, what do you do? And Nate said, I take this guy, we go here. He said, on the right side, Larry Allen says, we just block it aggressive.
31-17. Back at Texas Stadium, Pat Summerall with John Madden, 31-17, Cowboys over the Packers. Michael Irvin splits wide left. 3rd and 5. 3 wide receivers. No flag. Aikman, Novacek incomplete, and the Cowboys will have to punt.
Well, that's the thing that the Packers needed, because they're 2 touchdowns down. They know that they have to get a touchdown, get the ball back, get another touchdown to tie. So the first thing you have to do is stop them. They did that. Now the next thing they got to do is go down and score a touchdown.
That's John Jett, the Dallas punter. Back deep for Green Bay in the bright sun is Charles Jordan.
And the punt is coming out of the shade.
Yeah. Might be tough to handle back there. High kick coming right out of the sun. Jordan handles. To the 34-yard line. Bjornsson down to make the stop.
Green Bay will go to work.
There's the offensive line. They've done a heck of a job today. Eric Williams, you see they always sit together. I mean, Williams is outside, Allen's inside, and Nate Newton sits over there with Tuanay. Now, if you look at the sweat contest today, Pat, Mark Tuanay, he had none. Nate, I would say, was second, sweat going down the leg. Larry Allen's third. He has a little here. And then the winner is Eric Williams. His sweat went all the way down from his waist all the way down to his knees.
The champion. Here's Favre back to throw. Chased by Haley. Gets away from Haley. Favre to Bennett, who makes the catch. At the 35-yard line of Dallas.
This Brett Favre is something, and if you force him to run, and Charles Haley did, Charles Haley is lined up on he's coming from the right side, and right there, he forces them out to move. He starts to move out, and then, again, I think he does that better than anyone. Just running right or left, looking at a guy, and then his receivers do well, too, because they know when Favre starts to scramble, he's looking for all of them.
That's a heck of a catch by Bennett, who gets the carry. Down to about the 31-yard line of Dallas. Cowboys leading 31-17, 10-18 left to play.
And that's plenty of time for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they have time to score and then kick off and still not have to onside kick and get the ball back again. I think Barry Switzer's starting to feel this one now.
Yep.
I think he felt he had the game under control until the Packers scored, and then their Packer defense stopped them.
2nd and 5, Favre. Not much there. Clayton Holmes playing defense.
If you look at Brett Favre, when he was in the pocket, 17 times, 3 completions out of the pocket, 17 in the pocket, 29 attempts in the pocket, 6 outside the pocket, 69 yards, again, when he's been outside the pocket, and the 1 touchdown.
3rd and about 6. Big 5, call it, big down. 4 wide receivers for Green Bay to give the ball to Bennett. And he looks like he got first down yardage for Green Bay. Stopped by Bill Bates.
Yeah, Bates is in there because, again, it was 3rd down, and they were playing the pass. They had their nickel defense in with Bates in there. In fact, they have a defense that they call nickel Bates, where Bates is in there really as a middle linebacker. And one of the things that Mike Holmgren was talking about yesterday was running when you're supposed to pass and passing when you're supposed to run. And that time, he just ran when he was supposed to pass.
9.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter in the game. Dallas up 31-17. That's enough for a first down.
You notice how Red Cashin, the referee, if the visiting team gets a first down, he doesn't say anything.
Right.
And when the home team gets a first down, he really gives you that first down. He didn't give that at all. He was quiet on that one. You notice that?
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
1st and 10 at about just outside the Dallas 25. Favre trying to get the attention of the rest of his players. The crowd's loud. And that's that problem you were talking about.
That's where it is. And a lot of passing play and pass protection. Earl Dotson, the right tackle, moved on that one, number 72.
For the snap, false start. Number 72 on the offense. 5 yards, still first down.
Again, that's the toughest thing because you can't hear, so then you have to anticipate, and you know you have to pass protect. Boy, that is tough.
Favre gets him out quickly. Clock running now is 9:09 left. Bennett in motion. Favre back to throw it. For Brooks. Juggling, no catch. He went out of bounds. He held on, but he was on the back of Clayton Holmes. as he went out of bounds.
The official gave that up and down with the hands, and what that usually means is that he caught the ball, but he didn't have control when he was in bounds. He was bobbling it. I don't know. The ball breaks the plane there, and what the official was saying he didn't have control of it. But again, where did the ball break the plane? See, if the ball just breaks the plane, that's a touchdown.
And that's a heck of a catch.
And right here, when it goes across, I don't know that that's not a touchdown. I mean, he was in the end zone with the ball.
Favre gets it to Brooks again. He gets back to about the original line of scrimmage, stopped by Clayton Holmes again. Holmes has started to play better.
Well, you know, they put him over on the right side for a while, and they put Larry Brown over on his side, and then they switched back. And whether the Packers are working on Clayton Holmes, or like you say, maybe Brett Favre just being a right-handed quarterback, probably just throws more to the right, which I think the Packers do.
Third down. 3 wide receivers for Green Bay. Haley jumps. Haley wraps up Favre. But I think Charles is offside.
Yeah, but he still played it like a football player.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew that he jumped offsides, the whistle blew, and he stopped. I mean, he didn't give one of those stupid things where you throw the guy to the ground.
Neutral zone violation, number 94 on the defense. 5 yards, still third down.
I mean, that's why Charles Haley's a tough guy, because tough guys do things like that. I think the other guys, when they jump offside and slam a quarterback, I don't think that's a tough act.
That's a cheap shot.
That's a cheap shot, yeah.
Thank you.
Third down. After the penalties marked off, they need about 5 still. They're 7 out of 12 on third down conversion.
And again, they need 2 touchdowns, so they got 2 downs here. They're going to go third down and fourth down if they don't make it.
Sure. Favre comes out, keeps the ball. Favre headed for the end zone. Touchdown, Green Bay.
That's one advantage a quarterback has. He can use that ball to make a move, and he made a move on Brock Marion. He was past the line of scrimmage, and he gave Brock Marion, number 31, a pump fake. Marion went for it, and then Favre just went in the end zone.
Scrambling touchdown by Favre, and this is a dandy.
He is some competitor. But watch him as he gets past the line of scrimmage. See, he had nothing there. Now watch, he's past the line of scrimmage. You see that pump fake?
Yep.
That just held Brock Marion there, and then he ran right into the end zone.
Sure did. Jackie's extra point is good, and it's 31-24, still with 8:13 left to play.
Sunday is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
I remember the day.
Remember all that good-looking livestock? Terry Bradshaw thinks they're good-looking.
I tell you, I knew that spread had to be owned by a big, big man.
Yep. The lake, the house, the ducks, the willow trees, the livestock, and the guy with the bad arm.
And he played hurt, too. He just had surgery on his, I think, his shoulder and his wrist.
And his wrist, yeah.
Tell you, he was tough against us in the Oakland Raiders for years and years. One of the toughest I ever played against.
Clayton Holmes bringing it out of the end zone. Clayton Holmes. Outside the 40, about the 44.
Watch the touchdown again here, but watch the double that they do on Charles Haley. Edgar Bennett, number 34, comes up and really, boom, he really picks him off there. Ooh, he turns him sideways.
Wow.
That was a triple team on Haley.
And there's the pump fake by Favre. This first time in his career he has rushed for 2 touchdowns in the same game.
Brett Favre is a competitor.
31-24. Pitch back to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt midfield. Got about 6. Joe Kelly made the stop.
You wonder if that talk that Reggie gave about a half hour ago is still working.
That's about as emotional as you'll see Reggie get.
Well, you know, and it was after that touchdown by Emmitt Smith where they had 3 or 4 missed tackles, and the Cowboys just marched right down the field on them. And they knew that, you know, and Reggie knew, and the whole Packer team knew that if we're going to be in this game, we got to stop them so we can get the ball back for our offense, because their offense can move the ball against this Cowboy defense.
Reggie said, "You guys don't seem to care." Here's Aikman back to throw. Gets it outside to Novacek. A little bit short of a first down. Run out of bounds by Leroy Butler. Today's game being produced by Bob Stinner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The studio was produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill.
I think when you play defense against the Cowboys, you have to start in that first quarter with a sense of urgency. You can't wait for the urgency to set in the second half, because by then they'll lay you away.
By then the operation's almost over. Novacek. Did you get it? A little bit short.
4 links, 4 chain links.
Straight chain links. No kinks.
So everyone has a play for 4 chain links.
Well, if you have a healthy quarterback, you think a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, but that's the last thing that the Cowboys are going to run today. I mean, I think this has to be one where you get Darrell Johnston leading and you get Emmitt Smith carrying the ball when you're 3rd and 4 lengths.
That would be what you think of.
Yeah. E. Smith is a 4-linker.
Yeah.
I don't know. This may be a play pass, though.
Yeah, it could
because
be.
They're spending a long time in the huddle calling the play. And you don't spend a long time in the huddle calling a running play. I wouldn't be surprised if this were a play pass, where you fake the run and throw a pass.
It's Smith deep. Darrell Johnston in front of him. Smith. And he got the first down.
They just took a long time to say, Emmett,
Well,
I'll hand it to you, and you follow Darrell Johnston in there.
Maybe they all didn't know what 4 links was.
Yeah, just get in there behind Nate Newton and Ray Donaldson and Larry Allen and follow number 48, and you'll pick up more than 4 links.
31-24. Clock running, 6.5 minutes left. 2 tight ends. Here's Aikman back to throw it. Incomplete, intended for Michael Irvin. Right now, let's send you back to Hollywood for James Brown and a game break.
Seesaw affair at Soldier Field. Pat, take a look. Eric Kramer play action as he tosses his 3rd touchdown pass. This one to Ryan Wetnight. 24-20 Chicago in the 4th. Back to Pat and John.
31-24 Dallas in the 4th at Texas Stadium. Pat Summerall with John Madden. 2nd and 10 to Green Bay 43. Packers need the ball. 6:17 left. Aikman's voice squeaked a little bit, didn't it? Here's Emmitt Smith, and he tripped and fell down.
Oh, and he had one, too,
Yes, he
because
did.
Michael Irvin had a block for him. That one's not going to be funny right now. That's going to be funny during the week. But watch this one again. We see here's Emmitt Smith there, and he's going to start. Here's Michael Irvin down here. He gets a good lead block again by Darrell Johnston. A missed tackle and a good move. And watch right here. He has a block here by Michael Irvin. Had he gotten by it, in fact, I don't know if that was a block. That looked like a kind of a necktie takedown.
3rd and 3. Quick count. And it goes. The last twist might have gotten it. George Kuntz.
Yeah, that's
bottom of the tackle, excuse me.
That's a nice thing about having a big offensive line and a great running back. You know, which comes first? Does the offensive line make the running back make the offensive line? But that combination really takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback. And when you have to take time off the clock, control the ball, to have that combination on your side, that's super.
He'll measure for the first down. 5:20 left, as you pointed out. Another good lead block by Darrell Johnston on the run where Smith tripped.
Troy Aikman's even starting to sweat like those linemen. Troy Aikman has more sweat down the back of his pants than Mark Tuinei does.
That'll help that leg strain he's got.
Look at that. Eric Williams still the winner. Larry Allen, he's close. Donaldson is good.
Donaldson catching up.
Yeah, Nate not as much as you would expect, and Mark Tuinei dry.
2 tight ends. Emmett Smith.
Yeah, that run there was like Jimmy Johnson was talking about at halftime, when he used to coach the Cowboys, how they would just sit back there and marvel, even in practice, how he could find lanes. And that one he did. I mean, he started on that run at about 4 lanes before he ended up in the one that he was eventually going to stay in.
Over 100 yards again, 2 touchdowns.
That's what we were talking about earlier. Remember, his first 7 carries, he had 7 yards.
And Jurkovic was talking about it yesterday, too, saying you stop him, you stop him, you stop him, and all of a sudden he'll pop one. He'll have another chance. He won't pop this one.
I'll tell you, talking about pop, look at 93 there for the Green Bay Packers. There's a big man, Gilbert Brown.
Yes, he is.
Weighs about 345 pounds.
Well, you ask them how much he weighs, and they'd laugh.
Yeah, he got.
They say we'll go with what it says on the card, which is 325.
Well, he's wearing that extra shirt under there, and the thing on the left. And
3rd down, about 4. 5, call it. Aikman. Pass caught by Irvin.
You know, he just makes it look so easy.
Yep.
I mean, he's getting to an area that he's in, a zone or whatever you call it, the way Joe Montana was when Joe Montana was at his best. You know, that he's doing what everyone else does, but he just makes it look so easy. There's Michael Irvin on that slant. Just get inside his guy and then use his body to shield the defender off.
And the ball's right there.
Yeah, perfect.
Another big day for Irvin. Emmett Smith, the safety men converge. Leroy Butler.
But that's the thing, and Ernie Zampese has really called a good game for these Cowboys too. You know, everything is mixed up. I mean, by the time you think, oh, they're just going to give you a heavy dose of Emmett, boom, here comes Michael Irvin. Then you think, well, they're going to throw it to Irvin, and they throw it to Novacek. Then you think, well, they're just going to throw, and then boom, here comes Michael Irvin again.
Cowboys have had the ball about 5.5 minutes on this drive, and the clock is running, and that's what you have to do.
And that's when again, that goes the big offensive line, the good blocking fullback, and a great running back.
To Corey Fleming, the intended receiver, knocked down by Doug Evans. That'll stop the clock with 2:11 left to play.
Well, we just showed a picture of Ernie there, and Ernie wanted to take a shot. I mean, that's one thing about being an offensive coordinator or a play caller. You can't get into a rut. You can't call what the defense expects you to call. And you always have to go against the tendency. And you have to self-scout. You scout yourself to know how you're calling them, and then you call against how you've been calling them, if you're around as long as Ernie Zampese's been.
The 12th play of the drive coming up. They look a little uncertain, and they're going to take a timeout, which is the last thing they wanted to do. Cowboys call timeout. They have 1 left. Don't forget again next week, exciting NFL doubleheader action. The 49ers take on the Colts. The Cowboys battle the Chargers. Plus other exciting regional action. It all begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. John and I, as I said earlier, will be in San Diego with the Cowboys next week.
Yep, start back tonight, go back to California, go through all the way through Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, then back down to San Diego.
You go back home or go right to San Diego?
No. Go back home, then down to San Diego. Always stay on the ground, though.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I know.
Reggie White was telling me yesterday that he's going to have his wife, Sarah, fly, and maybe I'll fly again because Reggie has a bus like mine, and when he bought it, he drove it, and his wife, Sarah, drove it. So then when I was at Green Bay, I drove it. So now his trick is he said Sarah's going to fly.
You think, did I hear you say you might fly again?
No, I said that's the end. I said, I'll do one. I'm not going to do it again.
Emmitt Smith. Tripped up and run out of bounds. Finally stops the clock again with 2:05 left.
Boy, someone else went heels overhead on that one. One of those guys down there that holds something. That has that striped stuff on. Did you see him?
Yeah. He wasn't holding it very long.
No. I mean, I don't know. They got too many guys back there. Watch him. I mean, he gets it right there. Look.
Yep.
He goes head. No, and he went knee, then head, then heels overhead.
He got up with it. He didn't lose his card, though.
No, whatever that chart is that he's keeping, they're not going to knock that out of his hands.
4th down. This is Bonio. Novacek holding 35 yards away. And it's good. And that would bring a little sigh of relief to the head coach's head. And we've got the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go. Dallas by 10 at Texas Stadium. Tuesday night movie.
There's 2 big reasons for a lot of Cowboy wins, isn't it?
Yep. Jordan lost the ball in that bright sunlight and let it bounce out of the end zone, so the Packers will take over at their own 20.
And that was a big drive for the Cowboys, and it was a bad defense for the Packers because they were within a touchdown. And then, of course, that drive, they didn't stop them, and the Cowboys were able to get that field goal. So now the Packers need 2 scores with 2 minutes left.
Troy Aikman, the Miller Lite player of the game. I don't think there was much question about that.
No, I don't think from the moment he walked out on the field, just walking out on the field, he should be the player of the game.
Here's Favre. Almost a diving one-handed catch by Antonio Freeman.
That's what happens when you're a great player and you're not playing. Boredom sets in quickly.
Well, when you're in Tallahassee last night, to have your jersey retired and you're back on the sideline at Texas Stadium the next afternoon, that has something to do with it.
I wonder how Deion decides what to wear. You know, like, I mean, how does he know that's what he's going to put on when he comes out here?
Here's Favre back to throw. Under pressure. Flag on the play. He gets the pass off. It's incomplete. But a flag thrown on the play.
You know what I don't understand about Charles Haley is that, you know, he's playing so much and he didn't start. You know, I mean, to me, the guy is a great player and he can play, then you ought to play him. And if he can't play, you shouldn't play him. But here he is with 2 minutes left to go in the game. In fact, he's just going out now, but he's still playing.
Holding, number 75 on the offense. 10 yards, still second out.
Holding called against Ken Rutgers, whose job it was to block Charles Haley. Haley is out, walks off on the other side.
And, you know, and he'll, you know, talking about causing havoc, being in the backfield, he'll also cause that. I mean, he'll cause the other guy to have more penalties than anyone because they'll have to hold him to block him, and they don't want to get beat by the quickness, so they'll start early a lot. But, I mean, getting back to the other thing is he couldn't start. It wasn't good enough to start, but he sure played a heck of a lot.
A minute 48 left, 2nd and 20. Favre throws. Intended for Mark Ingram, who stumbled. And it's incomplete, and here comes Haley back.
You know, and Friday he didn't practice. He was kind of down. Then yesterday he was up. This is his son, CJ. He had his birthday party. Look at all the stuff. They brought this to the practice field at the Cowboys practice.
Good group there.
Yeah, good group. Here's George, the guy in the middle there leading the songs. That's Charles Haley's brother, George, leading everyone in happy birthday to CJ.
Pretty good haul.
That was a good haul. Good day.
Here's Favre back to throw. Incomplete again. Two Packer receivers close together. Charles Jordan. Today he has one. He rushed for two, but his consecutive streak is in danger. They're going to punt.
And of course, those are things that, you know, just happen over a player's career, and you don't think about or go for. I mean, the only goal that Brett Favre had today was to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
To win the game. Hendrick to punt from his own end zone, and it's a dandy. Clayton Holmes fields it, trips momentarily, and now he's off to run. Up close to midfield.
5-yard line, returns up to the 47.
Dallas has one timeout left. The Packers have all three of theirs. With a minute 26, the clock stopped down on the change of possession. Don't forget the NASDAQ stock market postgame report with JB and Terry and scores from around the NFL.
You know, I think that calf muscle of Troy Aikman is just getting tired now, because you can see just coming on and off the field that each time he comes on and off the field, he's just limping more.
I asked him the other day if he ever thought about just resting, not playing today and not playing against San Diego, and then the bye week, and he said, I've only got 16 chances. There's the Moose.
And if he were thinking of resting, he wouldn't be Troy Aikman.
That's right.
That's not a bad deal. I mean, finally, at the end of the game, they've had the Moose catching passes. They've had him pass protecting. They've had him run blocking. Look at him. He got a hole in his jersey right there. That whole right shoulder of that jersey's kind of worn out, isn't it?
Wouldn't you figure that?
Yeah, and then they finally give him the ball at the end of the game to let him get a first down. Pad his stats.
That jersey looks like a quilt.
No, but there's a lot of guys that could be the MVP of this game. I mean,
That's
Troy
true.
Aikman, obviously, but Daryl Johnston played like heck today.
Sherman Williams. Stopped by George Kuntz.
And again, you wonder, you know, talking about Daryl Johnston, how many lead blocks a body has in it. I mean, they're still doing it. I mean, here it is, 27 seconds to go, and look at him. I mean, he's still, boom, he's still coming in there. That back's still following him, running right through.
And it's still effective.
Yeah, I know it.
And how long has he been doing it?
But, you know, it's one of those things for a coach. It's easy to call, but it's hard for a fullback to do it.
He has to have a special temperament. And there he goes again, the Moose. Moose is helping his average.
I think the Moose is going to be glad to take this one to the house and get in that shower.
There's Charles Haley, Barry Switzer. Another victory for him, 34-24 over the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers, as they have indicated many times leading up to this game, are tired of coming to Texas Stadium and losing.
Well, you know, we talked about the lines, and they had to win it at the line of scrimmage, and the Cowboys just won it at the line of scrimmage today.
Eric Williams and Reggie White. There's Troy Aikman.
They had a heck of a battle. Eric Williams was fighting out of that calf that whole time, you know, fighting to keep that thing straightened out. And
Reggie White.
Block Reggie.
Derek Kennard next to him. And Reggie has well-deserved and should be a lot of respect when things are